At 9:45 here back on Live Impact News, we want to bring in meteorologist Bekah Birdsall into the studio now because we want to talk about weather and whether or not it's going to stay sunny today because, you know, your girl got the car wash on Sunday.
Okay.
But then it rained yesterday. I mean, I don't know if it was rain.
Well, you know what's funny?
It was just enough to ruin.
It was just sprinkles. We actually didn't pick up any measurable rainfall here in Charlotte. It was
Sprinkles.
just, it's the T, it's the trace. So a trace doesn't necessarily count.
Oh, okay.
As measurable rainfall.
Yeah, so enough to ruin the car wash. I was
car
like,
wash.
what just happened here? I gotta get it again.
Well, today is going to be really nice.
Okay.
A cold front brought us yesterday's few rain showers, but it's now bringing us some cooler air, which is why this morning was refreshing, maybe a little bit crisp out there. All of us outside of the mountains, with the exception of one county, dropped down into the 40s. So we started off 47 here in the metro, but we actually started off at 32 degrees up in the mountains. So frigid start for there.
Wow.
But everywhere else, it's going to be a beautiful day. We're already warming up with some sunshine out there, up into the middle 50s across the greater Charlotte area. And we will hang on to some clouds, some high clouds that will make way for some filtered sunshine. Otherwise, going to be a picture perfect day. We'll be warming up into the 60s over the next hour or two and entering the 70s. High temperature right around 74 across the greater Charlotte area. So you'll see those high clouds, like I mentioned, they're going to hang around with us throughout much of the day, but dry weather is going to persist. Now, here are the rainfall totals from yesterday. A big fat 0 across Charlotte, but we had to go further up in elevation to pick up around 1/10 of an inch. So the system that came through on Monday, extremely minimal, just a few droplets and sprinkles out there. And we've got more rain on the way, but it's not much. Next cold front is going to arrive on Wednesday. So for this year, we're down a deficit over 7 inches, but last year, we're running a deficit of over 6 inches. So that's why we're kind of in a bad spot with the drought status. But we will likely see a little bit of improvement going into this Thursday because it's going to take into account the 1 to 2 inches that the greater Charlotte area saw last week. That surface map, yesterday's cold front, well down to the south of us. That's where all the rainfall coverage is, especially across the panhandle of Florida. But you'll notice it is throwing us some extra clouds our way, which is why I think we'll carry the high clouds at least around as we go throughout the afternoon. We've got very minimal rain chances coming for Wednesday alongside the next cold front, but we'll be tracking more better rain chances likely coming for next week. So here's the futurecast. Wednesday morning, staying dry. Much of the afternoon, other than a few stray showers in the mountains, stay dry. It's towards the late evening we start to see kind of a round of some showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm start to try and make a run into the Charlotte metro, but it fizzles out, runs into some dry air. So I wouldn't imagine anticipating seeing much, holding on to about a 10% chance of a downpour going into Wednesday evening. So the daytime hours stay dry, lots of sunshine, and kind of the main story going into the next couple of days is it's not too hot and it's not too cold. Our average high temperature for this time of year is 79, and we are going to be at or cooler than that today all the way through Friday. Enjoy it because we've got heat building this weekend. We'll be back into the upper 80s, lower 90s Saturday all throughout next week. This is going to be as a ridge of high pressure system starts to build across the east, and this is what's going to drive in some very warm air from the south. So we go from Friday 78 to a 10-degree temperature jump for Saturday. It is going to be feeling like June and July beginning Saturday through much of next week. Now, we have already hit our first 90-degree day of the season. That was actually April 18th, about a month ago. Over a month ahead of schedule. Our average first 90-degree day is May 20th. So if we do hit this on Sunday, that would be our second 90-degree day of the season so far in this Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day. So tomorrow should be great conditions for that Charlotte FC game. Lots of sunshine over the coming days and highs in the 70s. That is really hard to beat for this time of year. Enjoy it because a big drastic warm up coming for Saturday and Sunday, and we'll likely stay in the upper 80s to lower 90s through much of next week, guys.
All right, that isn't too bad. We like that. We like it. Yeah.
It is, it is hard to believe that we are approaching June. I have to remind myself of hurricane season is almost here. It feels like the spring has just gone by so fast.
I know. Yeah, I do feel like spring has just come and gone.
It has, yes. I'm like,
And
I
I love
cannot believe we're almost
spring.
here. But we're almost there.
We're almost there. All right, so I'm just looking one more time.
Yep.
Today's nice. Tomorrow's nicer. If you like closer to 80,
Yeah.
Arlene, which we do. We're fine with it. Thursday. Okay, so
So a really nice couple of days. It just starts to get a little bit uncomfortable going into this weekend.
yeah, Saturday. That's a big jump.
It is.
To 88.
Yes,
All
it's a
right.
big jump. So if you haven't opened up the pool yet, I feel like this would be a good time.
Yes, and a lot of them are opening up.
Yes.
Like, Thursday, Friday,
Right.
this weekend.
Before Memorial
Just before
Day.
Memorial
Yes.
Day. All right, so have fun. Jump in. Splish splash, taking a bath. All right, maybe a hot bath. And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on your WCZ Charlotte app.